It's Night Terrors, Zatanna #2, written by Dennis Culver. Art by David Baldeon, Rain Barreto, and Pat Brousseau. Oh my God, it's the hex and violence. This is another issue that it's violence and hex. This is another issue, though, that doesn't do much. But the problem is that at least you liked that first issue. It intrigued you a bit. I didn't like it.
The idea of Robot Man and Zatanna are fun, even though, I like the character of Zatanna, but every time she shows up on the page, it annoys me because I hate reading backwards magic.
You know what's funny, too? Just not to just keep blowing smoke up at Jeremy Adams' ass, but it's one of the few books that actually got better in the second issue and ended where you were fired up. A lot of these are duds at the end. And in this, you set up a bunch of things like these sleepless nights, way more impressive, but we don't know anything about them.
The book looks great. So when you see them in this issue, they look amazing. And for some reason, the one, you have Sir Morbid, Made in Iron, which is funny because in the previous Zatanna issue, Made in Iron was called Iron Maiden, and their wretched queen, the Sleepless Queen. And it's so funny when you have this sleepless knight here, Sir Morbid, who has this, weird, skull horse face. So, even I think Sandman in the Night Terrors #3 called him horse face.
Every three, Sleepless Nights is horse face. We keep seeing that.
I look at this character and all I see is Alpaca from the Batman Incorporated.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. You're right. And so in that, though, we are in the waking world. You have Zatanna.
Yes, and it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. And I love at one point, she's thinking to herself about Robot Man. She's like, I don't know why he didn't fall asleep. I'm like, really? He's a robot. I thought that was pretty
Honestly,
obvious.
The thing is, I sat there, I thought the same thing because he has a human brain. But he doesn't sleep, so it makes sense, though.
So, even so, it was a weird thing to play out. But again, you're in the waking world, and you have these sleepless nights. And we've seen them being around and whatnot, but there was never any explanation. I got in a fight with a guy about an explanation. But in this book, you almost feel like this would have been the one to do it because you're even knighting people to turn them into more. So are they actually just heroes and villains that were knighted and changed?
At one point at the end of this issue with our Sleepless Knights, right? We saw in the last issue that the Sleepless Queen has a magic fucking sword that she can knight people and turn them into a Sleepless Knight themselves. Robot Man becomes the Rustbringer, this giant Robot Man monstrosity thing. And I thought, by the end of this issue, when Zatanna gets her hand on that sword, and she's able to cure Robot Man and turn him back to Cliff Steele that we all know and love, that she was then going to go and show us that the other people are other people in DC Comics, and they were just knighted by whatever the Sleepless Queen is. But no, we never get there. There's oh shit, she got a sword, let's peace out.
All of a sudden you find out that the Queen was like Killer Frost, and she got knighted. Something like that. So that's what I thought. I thought that oh my God, that was actually Mr. Freeze. So that was,
and we might eventually still get there in Night's End.
There's a lot of things being thrown at the end of the Night's End. But in this, though, you set up, the whole play. The big play, Zatanna ended up trying to keep Wonder Woman and Detective Chimp from falling asleep. She could not do it, so they ended up going and putting them in that panic room. You ended up having this big maze, all that stuff.
The labyrinth underneath the Justice League Dark headquarters in the basement of the Watchtower.
And you do have a bit of a recap in this more than some others, but you did get, Cliff, Robot Man, he got knighted. He's Rust Buckets, I like to call him, right? Jackwagon. But you end up, when you're doing that, I thought that, okay, that's enough. Let's figure out how to get Cliff, not being that, but also deal with these sleepless nights. When you throw in, Zatanna's dad, she should know better. She should know better. And you said this
that's
earlier.
The worst part because she talks about she knows what's going on. They can manifest the nightmares of the waking world. She talks about in the last time when, you had everybody who was dead from the Doom Patrol, haunting Cliff. You had her father haunting her, and Cliff and her decided to change partners and take them out so they didn't feel bad about what they were doing. And then she's like, I don't have Cliff to do that anymore. And then there you have the nightmare Giovanni Zatanna there. He's like, you ain't good enough, Piccolo. And she starts getting to the fetal position. I'm like, you just told yourself what was going on. Why are you allowing yourself to be a freaking, taken over by this once again? Be Zatanna. Be better.
And you have that play, too, as what's weird. And I guess, I don't know. The idea that they wanted this book to have Zatanna not fall asleep. You get Robot Man in there. But really, you play it out like the nightmares. There's no real reason. It was just get Wonder Woman and Detective Chimp.
You are in a magical labyrinth that we've never seen before as a Justice League Dark panic room in the center where you can keep everybody safe and everything magically you know where you are if you're a part of the team, but everybody else gets lost. You have this whole scenario that we've never seen before that's introduced that makes it dreamlike. You have the sleepless nights that showed up in this last issue for the first time, I believe for the first time. And then they have the power to manifest nightmare creatures in the waking world. So you just have nightmare stuff going on in the waking world. So like, what is the difference? Why did we need a fucking nightmare wave?
There was no reason for that. What you have too, and here's the explanation, is Zatanna says, this isn't some evil ghost of my father, just the hateful sorcery of the sleepless queen. So pretty much you're telling me it's bullshit. You just told me nothing. Now, you have the big labyrinth. Would it have made you laugh if suddenly Zatanna ends up, he has magic cards, there's snow everywhere, Eric, and we end up getting that close.
I do not need to make him the first appearance of the Batman Who Laughs, who had magical Joker cards for some reason.
Out of nowhere, we play that. But no, you're even playing the idea. It's definitely not a nightmare, but yet she's just saying it's sorcery, which should make her even more the idea that she doesn't want to get involved because it's not her
even
nightmare.
The idea of the sorcery involved. Here you have a magician, essentially. I'm trying to think of the word, a sorceress, for what Zatanna is. She does the magics, is what I'm trying to say. And when you have the sleepless queen finally catch up to her and confront her and use her sword to impale Zatanna to knight her a queen herself, and then it's like, oh, I fooled you because even though you thought you impaled me with my magic sword, I used magic that I thought was better than yours, which that nullified your magic and made me say I was okay because magic.
That ends up being the thing that she remembers then, even through the nightmare
version. You gotta believe in your magic, and I believed mine more than you believed yours.
And says, hey, listen, and she's there, she's practicing. Her dad says, you're not as good as me, really, but it's also because you're not believing your magic. You're not believing it, so why would anybody else believe? She takes that into, oh my God, it was inside me all along. I believe more than...
So it's that sword.
What does she believe more than the sleepless queen and the sword and anything?
I believe that I'm not knighted the Dame of Death more than she thinks I am knighted the Dame of Death. And so the sword that just impaled me didn't impale me, and I'm able to take that sword from her and use this magic that is not backwards that I've never seen before to change Robot Man back into Cliff Steele. One more thing. Looking at the sleepless queen here, I think this is the one that you thought was the Wonder Woman in the Flash issue.
It might be. It might be because it does look like her, but bitches all over the place too. Maybe it is. I don't know. But you end up where you're playing this, and I said at the beginning with the Night Terrors #3, oh my God, we're going to defeat insomnia with the Nightmare Stone. Like, how? How does that work? I love the idea that it's almost like they think that somebody stabbed you in the back with a knife and killed you, Eric, so I'm going to bring you to life by stabbing you in the front. Like, the idea that she just gets the sword, that she believes more that it's not going to hurt her, pulls it out, and then to cure Cliff, she just runs him through and says that ends up... I don't know how that works, but it
Boom,
does.
I'm back, baby.
And he's back. And he's like, looks like it's time to punch this horse-faced asshole right in the face. Boom, boom. And you're just like, what just happened? What
and then the
happened
sleepless queen says, we can't deal with this shit. I'm peacing out.
Yeah. And then they run him. Not one point does the sleepless queen yell, I'm going to mind freak you assholes. Like, you didn't even get that. I wanted more street magic.
Well, I'm telling you, you needed some kind of magic. Even the idea where you brought to life a nightmare version of her father, again, not a zombie version of her father, just a nightmare version playing on her fears, that was even able to change the labyrinth around her where she didn't know where she was from where they started. So you have all this reality manipulation magic going on that you didn't even fuck with because, oh shit, Zatanna's got a sword, we out.
Yeah, you almost wish that she ended up like, yes, she was in the waking world, but she was getting drowsy. Oh my God, I gotta save them in the panic room. And then she just fell the fuck asleep so we can do it. Because that's all you do. You just end up doing it anyway, but in that weird way. But like you said at the end, it's like, we out. Uh-oh. Looks like old Rust Kicker's... I'm just going to call it...
The Rust Bringer.
Looks all nuts and bolts. We're screwed. Let's get out of here. And they just leave. They just run. And yeah. And
to
then
our
at
master.
The end, and then at the end, just to piss me the hell off, you end up where, Cliff's like, this is why I hate magic. But you know what I like? Hacks and violence. Let's go kick ass. I'm like, and then I'm telling you, the idea of reading Portal backwards, I couldn't do it. I kept looking at it. I'm like, Portugal love. All right, I don't know what's happened. And then I'm like,
this book just really wants to make you feel dumb, doesn't it?
Oh my God. I'm like, Portugal up top, El Tayeb. Oh, Gabe El Tayeb's on this book, I thought. And then they go through a portal. Hey, let's go to the portal to battle.
Hex and violence style.
Hex of Violence. One thing, we talked about the, little feels that you got in the Robin book. I actually did like at the one point when like, you know what? I never thought I'd like you as much. We're pretty good together. That's fine. Hex of Violence. Get that the fuck out.
I like the idea of the team.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't think it will give you a 6-issue mini, but we've seen crazier things, right?
It's such a weird thing for what we just talked about with the Green Lantern, though, where it really showed you how badass the character is for how he was able to overcome this. So the majority of the Zatanna issue, Robot Man's the Rustbringer, trying to come after her. She does some Home Alone stuff where she creates some booby traps that's already in there to stop them for a while, but she's overcome by...
I couldn't read backwards.
She is overcome by her fears of her father, telling her she's not good enough and stuff like that. The labyrinth changing around her, fighting off the sleepless nights. And by the end, the way we show that the character is great is her just saying, oh no, I believe shit better than you believe shit, so I'm okay. And like, that is not a satisfying conclusion. And you're not doing it because the majority is her running through a labyrinth. And I'm telling you, the art looks great. Not a lot of backgrounds to really do here because you're in a goddamn labyrinth, but the art and the character work look great. It's just the story and how they do it. Like, I'm all about Robot Man as a time teaming up. I'm all about Hex and Violence, mostly because it pisses you off, but I also think it's cool. But the story that we have here just does not work for me, and I still don't understand why we have the sleepless nights on top of insomnia, and what the hell are they? Where'd they come from? What do they do?
It's weird, but at the end, like, they're in that labyrinth, and it reminds you of that movie, Lady Hawk. But obviously, it's more like that boring movie,
the Dark Crystal?
Dark Crystal. But yeah, at the end, I didn't really love the first issue. This didn't, like, infuriate me. I just thought, well, this is one of those that really didn't do anything just except make me look dumb. And really, the comedy would be, I should end up, if I recorded me going through these issues, anything with Zatanna, these things that you would hear me think is what's good. Oh, she's making bubble gum. I swear to God, for some reason, quicksand in my mind, it was like some, I didn't know. What would you give this?
That's a weird thing because I really love the art in this. I'm telling you, and like the Hex and Violence stuff is cool. The battle is really cool, but it's just all of the MacGuffins that you have here to make things work out for our heroes to win. It's just out of nowhere. Don't understand the story, why things are happening in this. So I can't give it a really high score, but I still enjoyed myself overall. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I think I'm a 5, just a regular 5, because it does. I would have liked a little more backgrounds, but they're in a labyrinth. And it's funny when we're talking about this, and the thing that just kind of popped in my mind. When we like that Green Lantern, Jeremy Adams, you're in nightmares, right? Anything can go, but he did have Hal pretty much stick with what Hal would do. There was no real, like, over-the-top MacGuffins. There wasn't anything that, that can only happen in he's doing a lot of constructs and fighting back with a lot of things. Maybe that was the play. The fantastical stuff was being left to who was attacking him and that thing, but how he reacted, even though he could have went crazy, it ended up being a little more grounded than this sort of thing. Like you said, with MacGuffins, it just didn't make sense. You were just pulling shit out your ass. 5 out of 10, but a regular 5. What are we ending with
you
there?
You know what? I'm going to go down to a 5.5 because, the story just did not work as well as I wanted it to. Like,
you just like the Hex and Violence, and you love me looking like a dummy.
I do. I really do.
I told you, that portal, I'm like, Lutra. I don't know why I can't do it. I just can't.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.